Leadership TV for God and country.
Hello there. Welcome to another edition of Health and Wellness is on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Upebo and I have my co-host presenter with me, Patience.
Good afternoon,
Patience
viewers.
Ejirika. It's a pleasure to join us to be hosting another edition of the program. And this time around, we are going to be looking at depression. You've noticed that depression an in thing among Nigerians these days. We hear of situations whereby if somebody is not jumping into the lagoon in Lagos, somebody is also taking a sniper, known as sniper, to end his own life. And we have a doctor in the house to discuss, to throw more light on this issue. And he is a cognitive behavioral therapy practitioner, Dr. Fabian Igbaji. Thank you so much, Doctor. I hope I got your
Thank you
name
for
right.
having me. Yes, you did. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Last year's World Health and Mental Day, there was a report that about 15 million Nigerians are suffering from one mental health disorder to the other. How true is this, and what is really happening?
Well, the truth is, a lot of people are actually having different forms of mental health issues. Okay, and mental health issues actually range in a spectrum. Okay, so you have mental health, you have mental distress, and then you have mental illness. So different people fall within that spectrum. So there are a lot of people who actually are within that spectrum of mental health issues. So when we're talking about mental health issues, we're not talking only about illnesses. We're also talking about issues that have to do with states, states of emotions that have become disruptive to regular living. Okay, so there are a lot of people actually that are within that are having the issues of mental health. Okay, thank you.
Now, Doctor, people that have a depression or mental health issues, do they present with ailments or symptoms? Well, how do you diagnose somebody that has a depression?
Okay, so people that are who are experiencing depression, they usually have certain experiences, that symptoms that you would call symptoms that um, are that are associated with depression. So, for example, you have things like low mood, you have feelings of hopelessness about the future, feeling unworthy, feeling frustrated, and a number of other symptoms. Okay, so but the thing with depression is that depression, a lot of people misuse the word depression. So when somebody is sad, they use the term depression. Okay, so sadness is different from depression, right? Now, the actual definition of depression is, I would use the statistical diagnostic manual. You know, the definition that has been established there says that depression is can be diagnosed when you have at least five symptoms that agree with depression. Okay, five of those symptoms. I've talked about low mood. I've talked about loss of appetite. I've talked about loss of interest in the things that usually would interest the person. Okay, and other things. So when a person has five of those symptoms, and I've experienced those symptoms most days in a week for at least 2 weeks, you can say that such a person is depressed. Okay, or when the person experiences low mood, disinterest in the situation, loss of inability. Maybe for some people they are unable to sleep. Other people they sleep too much. Okay, loss of interest in things that usually would interest them. When such things start to disrupt their regular living. Regular living meaning if you're somebody who goes to work, when depression, all these symptoms start to affect your work. If you're somebody who are in a relationship, when these symptoms start to affect your relationship, your routine responsibilities, and other things that I usually engage in on a regular basis. If your those feelings start to disrupt your regular living, then you can see that such a person is depressed. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Fabian. Now we are still on the topic of our discussion today, and that is depression. What are the symptoms for depression, and how to take care of depression? That is for those who are just joining in on health and wellness on leadership television. Now, doctor, we often hear people say maybe they just experience one unpleasantness, and the next thing you hear is, I'm having depression. I feel depression. Are they in order?
Okay, so you see, for depression, dep- let me come from the term of stress. Okay, stress is stressful to different people differently. Okay, so people have different capacity to be resilient to situations in life. Okay, certain things may create depression in the lives of people. Now, what is depression? Depression is that state where a person is holding on to thoughts of sadness, events that may have happened in the past, things that have happened in the past, situations that they cannot control. You know. Now, there are certain people who are not able to handle those kind of things, while other people are able to handle them. So, um, for a person, a situation that might create depression in them, it might not create depression in other people. Okay, so it's actually circumstantial, right? Now, for a person who says, I experience a certain situation and it's making me depressed, that person may simply be sad, may simply be experiencing a momentary event of sadness. Okay, depression in itself is a series of symptoms that may include loss of appetite, that may include loss of sleep. In some people, in other people, it's they sleep too much. In other people, while some people experience loss of appetite, some other people experience um, uncontrolled appetite. So they eat too much. We also have symptoms like disinterest in the things that you would usually find interesting. Okay, either it's things you like to do, places you like to go to, places you like to be, people you like to be with. Okay, so when there are a number of such symptoms happening like about the same time and happening for most times in a week, for at least 2 weeks, then you can say that such a person is depressed. You will start to see for such a person, you will start to see them doing carrying out certain things. For example, they are withdraw from other people. Some people they withdraw from other people. Other people they acted excitedly, so you don't even know that this person who is so excited is responding in a certain way to a depressed state. Okay, some people they lose, they're not able to eat. So there are certain symptoms you would observe. Okay, so it's not only about mere sadness. You experience one thing, something happens to you, your boss speaks to you a certain way in the office, and then you are sad, and then you say you're depressed. Depression is a bit more than that. Thank you.
Okay, doctor, can
Yeah.
depression cause addiction?
Sorry,
Some
say that again.
Nigerians, addiction. Some persons practice
Addiction.
unhealthy lifestyle. And I saw a recent report that says that some of these habits has a lot of depression. Actually, is this doctor?
Oh yes. Depression. Okay, so you see, when a person is depressed, usually depression would have moved you from a state of control, where you're able to control your emotions, where you're happy, where you're able to do certain things that you were doing in the past. Now, when your life has become disrupted in a way that you feel or you find uncomfortable, what people usually try to do is bring themselves from that state of disharmony to a place of harmony. Okay. So when a person is depressed, usually they start seeking for coping mechanisms. They start looking for what to do to make themselves happy, to pull themselves out of states of depression. Okay. Now, when a person has practiced a certain activity that usually would give them some form of respite, some form of that would help them to manage the state of depression that they're experiencing. When they have practiced such habits or practices or activities for a number of times, okay, those activities start to become a habit, and those habits can become an addiction. So, for example, if a person uses drinking of alcohol as a way of an attempt to manage depression, such an activity can become an addictive practice for such a person. So yes, depression can actually lead to addiction, depending on what they eventually start to do in attempt to help themselves out of addiction. Okay, I mean out of the depression. So yes, truly, depression can result in addiction.
Thank you so much, doctor. Now, can it be treated or can it be, managed?
Yeah, yes, depression can be managed. There are different kinds of depressions, really. There are different ways that different ways that the depression can be managed. First of all, I'll talk about cognitive behavioral therapy. Not just cognitive behavioral therapy, psychotherapy. Okay, so psychotherapy is a way of helping a person to manage their emotions, how they are viewing things. Okay, so people seem to think that events are responsible for the way they feel. You know, for cognitive in cognitive behavioral therapy, it is believed that events are not responsible directly for the way a person gets to feel. Rather, it is what you tell yourself about an event that produces the emotions you go on to feel. Okay. So when a person is experiencing depression, it is helpful for the person to seek help, talk about it, speak up, seek professionals who are trained to be able to help you in managing depression. That's one. Secondly, um, in very serious situation of depression, you have situations where psychotherapy in combination with drugs are given. Okay, these are in very severe situations, but in other mild situations that a person can actually do for themselves in their homes. Seek the company of others. Okay, when you're in a state of depression, talk about it. Don't keep things to yourself. Speak about it. When you talk to people around you, the issues that may be creating the depression, if you seek people's attention, you might find out that those things may be resolved. They may help you to resolve it. Okay, so if it's financial issues that have been prolonging over time, and it has put you in a state of depression, if you talk about it to the people around you, you might find out that those issues of finances you're having could be resolved. If it's issues of you're trying to locate something, you don't have a job, sort of a sort of livelihood that is making you depressed, you can actually talk about it, right? There are people who may be looking for your kind of skill. So when you're able to talk about it and not keep it within yourself, you find out that solutions may come. And then when the solutions come, if the feelings of depression, the feelings of moodiness, and prolonged sadness that you have, experienced for a long time, will be addressed. Okay, but most importantly, it's good to talk about it. It's good to seek professional help, right? Family members are not equipped to help people in severe depressions that have become disruptive to a person's livelihood. Family members may not be able to help such a person. So in such a situation, it's very good to seek professional help. Thank you very much.
Thank you so to
Yeah.
find out, when you talk about those are induced by maybe economic realities and all those, does that mean that their depression at that time, their maybe financial inducement, depression arising from maybe economic realities is temporal?
Yeah.
Can you say it's temporal?
Yes, it is. The thing is, the way people view life differently. Okay.
Differently, yes.
So, for some people, an economic situation that would have created a state of depression for them, it might not be that is the root cause of their depression. Okay. Some people have actually developed what we call, um, some people have developed what we call a sadness habit, a habit of viewing things with worst case scenario. Some people have, you know, developed such a habit of holding on to past events and not letting go. Okay, so even when economic realities are unfavorable, you know, and it is creating them the stress that makes them feel depressed. Okay, even when such situations have been addressed, it's possible that they will come out of the feelings of depression and become okay. But what is the likelihood that if they face another stressful event, they will not go into depression? Okay, so that's why I talked about people who have the habit of holding on to events that are sad, events that are difficult to let go. Some people have difficulty letting go of events. Okay, so for a lot of people, when you are able to address the root causes, that thing that has put them in that place of depression, helping them to draw a new perspective to life. Okay, helping them to see that because something happened in the past that you are sad about, that's making you feel sad. If an address has been brought forward, if a solution has been brought forward, you can actually let go of that sadness, of that feeling of gloom. Some people are unable because it is a habit of holding on to gloom memories. Some people are unable to let go, but other people are able to. So, for those people who are unable to let go of gloom, feelings of gloom, it will require a professional to help them to change the habit of holding on to gloom. Okay, I wish I had a bit more time. It's an interesting discussion. The thing is, people we do not realize how we hold on to gloom and get into the state of depression. A lot of people do not realize, but there are people who consistently have a habit of gloom. You know, so yes, for some people, they can actually be helped, taken out of the state of depression, um, and then they will thrive from there. While there are other people who it's a habit for them. You need to actually help them to break that habit so that whenever situations in whenever they are in the present, they will not hold on to any other thing in the past as a root cause that will lead them into another state of depression. Thank you.
Okay, so
Okay. Okay, doctor, whenever we hear
Yeah.
cases of suicide, we link them to depression. Can you please share your thoughts on this, doctor?
Sorry, whenever so say that again,
We hear
please.
cases of
suicide, we link them to
Oh,
this depression.
depression.
Can you shed more light on it? Shed more light.
okay. So suicide sometimes can be a bit complex, you know. Um, so for people who may have attempted or who have engaged in suicide by itself is associated with depression, for real. It is associated with depression. When a person, for some people, there's usually that place of hopelessness. There's that place of hopelessness, when a person is unable to see that, for some people it's a case of worthlessness, where they feel like they do not have any more value in within themselves. For some people, it's a case of sadness over events that happened in the past, which they probably may be blaming themselves. So there are many reasons, many possible reasons why people commit suicide. It's not just depression. It could also be um, anxiety. Things that they anticipate may happen in future, which they have told themselves they are unwilling to face. They are unwilling to be present in that time, so they take their lives. you know so there are different things that can actually result to suicide. Yes, depression is one of them. Depression is a very important aspect because a person is unable to let go of things that happened in the past that is still hurtful to them, that they have not been able to probably wrap their head around, to make sense of, to make meaning of, to be able to view things through alternate perspectives. Okay, so when they're unable to let go of these things, I'm talking about on the perspective of depression now. When they're unable to let go of some of the feelings of sadness, blame, hurt, sometimes they consider suicide or harming themselves. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Doctor. Now, Doctor, presently, would you say that the rate of depression in the country is it high, or what is this current situation of?
Okay, so in the present, depression, like I said, depression is mental health happens in a spectrum. Okay, and for different people, different things can produce depression in them. There are a lot of people who are depressed in Nigeria. You know, I don't know of a study currently that captures the current statistics of people who are depressed. Okay, at the moment, but different people go into states of depression, and sometimes one way or the other they come out of it. You know, but the truth is, um, situations in the country, like in Nigeria, the different situations can push people into depression. For example, the last election could have been a situation that would have created depression in the hearts of people because um, certain expectations that people were having, certain results that we're expecting to have, did not happen the way they wanted it to happen. So it could result in depression. Economic realities. Today I mean, last week I heard of the possibility of the fuel price going to 750 naira. For some people that could, I mean, hearing that result coming into today, it can be a source of depression for some people because they'll start thinking, how are we going to cope? How are we going to cope with the resultant effect of the increment? So it's a thing that we could build. So depression is a dynamic thing. It could increase at a point, it could reduce at a point. But I'm very sure that at this point in time in Nigeria, the statistics of people who may be depressed is likely to be high. That I can say.
Wow, thank you so much, Doctor. Although we
Thank you.
had some issues there, the network wasn't so clear. So, do you have anything to say? So, what viewers we've been having
Oh, you couldn't hear
with
me?
a certified cognitive behavioral therapist, Dr. Fabian Baji. Dr. Fabian, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your presence on today's program. So, viewers,
Thank you for having me.
this is what we call it today on today's program.
Thank you, viewers, for joining us. Same time next week, we'll be back here.
We're supposed to be having the wellness part of the segment of the program. Don't forget, next week when we come, we'll come with a wellness segment of the program. We'll be giving you some tips and hints on how to adjust or do some certain things. So until we come your way again, same time, same station, we remain really predictable and patient ahead of that. See you then. Bye.
Be part of our brand. Leadership for God and country.
Leadership TV for God and country.